Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, time has arrived for the opening remarks on the theme of the conference, Emerging New Order in the Indian Ocean, by the President India Foundation, Dr. Ram Madhav. Dr. Ram Madhav, Indian politician, social leader, author, and thinker, is the President India Foundation, a New Delhi-based think tank. Over a decade of India Foundation's existence, Dr. Madhav has been the curator of major global and national initiatives like the Indian Ocean Conference, the Dhamma Conference, ASEAN Youth Summit Conference, Counter-Terrorism Conference involving heads of nations and leaders of governments beside academics, scholars, and public-spirited individuals. Widely regarded for his contribution in the field of strategic thinking, political philosophy, and India's foreign policy, Dr. Madhav has most recently been instrumental in ideating the Religion Forum 20 as part of India's presidency of the G20. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I now respectfully invite the President India Foundation, Dr. Ram Madhav, to deliver the opening remarks of the conference. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar and good morning to everybody. President of the Republic of Sri Lanka and the chief guest of the inaugural session, His Excellency Sri Ranil Wickremesinghe, Commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Perera, Honorable Ministers, officials, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Let me at the outset congratulate the organizers of the Galle Dialogue for choosing Emerging New Order in the Indian Ocean as the topic for this edition of the International Maritime Conference. This conference is taking place at a time when the world is witnessing a major transformation. A new world order is taking shape post the pandemic. It will not only be multipolar, but heteropolar, by which I mean that non-state actors like tech giants, global MNCs, global NGOs, transnational terror groups, spiritual and religious movements, all of them will be having a greater sway over peoples and nations. Friends, transformations are not always peaceful. They entail wars and violence, the kind of which we are witnessing in Eastern Europe and West Asia. I wish to pay my condolences to the families of all those who lost their lives in Hamas terror in Israel and the wars ensuing in these regions. Friends, Sri Lanka hosted the 23rd meeting of the Indian Ocean Rim Association Council of Ministers yesterday and assumed the chairmanship of this important regional association for the next 2 years. Excellency, I congratulate you. Incidentally, India assumed the role of the vice chair also. We are confident that together our two countries can work towards developing IORA as a platform for promoting sustainable development, economic growth, and stability in the region, and helping navigate the emerging world order smoothly. We should also commit ourselves to building this region into a free, open, and inclusive one, where the rule of law guides the actions of all the nations and sea lines are not used for piracy, overexploitation, and terrorism. Friends, IORA is 25 years old. In its quarter century of existence, it has crossed many milestones. But a new formulation called the Indo-Pacific came into existence a few years ago and gained quick currency and traction globally. In its 25 years of existence, IORA hasn't come across any country promulgating an Indian Ocean regional strategy. However, today, from Canada to South Korea, dozens of countries have promulgated what they call as the Indo-Pacific strategy. There is no denying the fact that the Indo-Pacific region, the IOR, has emerged as the most important corridor of power in this century. The global power axis, which was situated in the Pacific Atlantic region in the last century, has decisively shifted to the Indo-Pacific in this century. It is in the Indo-Pacific region that economies of scale with massive GDPs with purchasing power exist. It is here that almost 45% of the world's population lives. The Indo-Pacific sea lanes carry almost 70% of the container trade and 80% of the energy trade. It is here that the world's biggest militaries operate and the region tops in military spending in the world today. But we must not forget that the Indo-Pacific is not one region. It's a confluence of two important oceans, the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean. Any discussion about the Indo-Pacific naturally drags the attention towards the conflict in the Pacific Ocean, while the Indian Ocean is seen as though it was an extension of the former. The Indian Ocean region is home to dozens of countries, from East and South Africa to West Asia to South Asia to Southeast Asia to Australasia. A number of small island developing states are an important constituent in this region. While the Pacific Ocean faces severe challenges of great power rivalry and conflict, barring some bilateral irritants, the Indian Ocean region continues to remain largely conflict-free. My intention is not to minimize or dismiss the challenges in the Pacific region. I'm aware of the eventuality that as two contiguous regions, the challenges one region faces become challenges for the other two. However, unfortunately, the challenges that the Indian Ocean region faces are the opportunities that it offers hardly find any mention in the current global discourse. For example, one of the major stakeholder powers in the region, the United States, has not talked about Indian Ocean in its Indo-Pacific strategy vision until very recently. It was only a couple of years ago that the Biden administration acknowledged the entire Indian Ocean to be an important part of that vision. Indian Ocean region has its own strengths. The region is home to 35% of the world's population and accounts for 20% of world's GDP. 1/3 of the world's bulk cargo traffic and 80% of the world's oil shipments travel through these waters. It produces 40% of the world's offshore petroleum reserves. And it faces its own set of challenges too. With the changing global order, Indian Ocean region is turning into the focal point of strategic competition and power politics. The challenges faced by the region are also a microcosm of the multi-dimensional challenges faced by the rest of the world, like climate change, the unregulated rise of critical and emerging technologies, disruption of supply chains, and growing deficits in energy and food security. In addition, many countries in the region have been victims of debt traps and resulting crumbling of economies. I am confident that these and many more such issues would be discussed in the two-day dialogue here at Galle. I also hope that the efforts by leaders like His Excellency Ranil Wickremesinghe would result in establishing the Indian Ocean's distinct identity and role in the emerging world order. Some critical questions to ask at this crucial juncture include: 1. Who would be deciding the destiny of this region? The regional powers are the global powers. 2. Can an institutional framework be developed in the region for facilitating management and governance of the regional order in the ensuing decades? And 3. Lastly, but most importantly, can the region stay out of the evolving big power rivalry without being forced into taking sides? Ladies and gentlemen, as far as India's priorities are concerned, may I conclude by quoting our eloquent Foreign Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, and I quote, "It is our effort to develop an Indian Ocean community that is stable and prosperous, strong and resilient, and which is able to cooperate closely with and respond to happenings beyond the ocean. It is important to maintain the Indian Ocean as a free, open, and inclusive space." Thank you, and I wish the dialogue a grand success.